All right. Welcome, everybody. We have Friday. We have a very exciting week behind us. I think we have a lot to talk about today. So I already prepared a full glass of water. Some exciting news that we have to discuss today. First of all, I got a haircut. Finally, since October, I've been trying. And now we finally succeeded. I've never been this excited about a haircut. So that's the least exciting news. The most exciting news is we released a smart contracts alpha this week, right? And that's a huge milestone for the team, because many people thought smart contracts can't really work on a DAC, right? Like IOTA. Many people thought that it's impossible to compete with Ethereum or the established DLTs. But we have a very exciting journey ahead of us. So most of the talk today will be about smart contracts. But because we like to do these talks a little bit informal and we like to have fun with all of you, right, with the IOTA community, we also have a very passionate IOTA community member on our talk today, Thomas, and I'll get him onto the show in about 20-25 minutes. And Thomas and I will do meme review together. So we'll have some very good insights on smart contracts today, and we're going to have a good laugh with Thomas and with our memes. So let me share my screen with you, and then we can really jump into this week. Maybe something important beforehand that I haven't really mentioned yet on the previous IOTA Talks. We had a very exciting partnership announcement with Horizon. For those of you that don't know Horizon, they're really a DLT that is focused on utilizing zero knowledge proofs to basically have a privacy preserving asset transfers, right? To ensure the privacy. We've been in talks with Horizon for quite some time. They're a very, very passionate and very exciting team. And what we are talking with them is actually to utilize IOTA oracles for their network, right? So the IOTA tech is being utilized in another distributed ledger to supply data and to really supply some of their use cases. So this was a very exciting announcement. And as all of you know, we have a new Dawn, we have Chrysalis, as some correctly say, and we have this bridge building that we really want to do this year, where it's not just about IOTA as a machine economy, but where it's really about IOTA as a crypto ecosystem that is being utilized by other DLTs as well, and that can really benefit the broader ecosystem, because that is like true, really. Convinced, like we're really convinced that our technology solves problems not just for IOTA and for the machine economy, but it also solves problems for other DLTs. So we had this announcement with Horizon. We're going to do more of these as well for IOTA oracles. And I'm very, very sure that as smart contracts mature more, they will be really the major hub for us to build bridges, where it's not just about our tech being utilized, but where it's also about other assets being swapped onto the IOTA ledger. So I think that's super exciting, the way that it's going, and we are in close talks with Horizon about the integration, and we're very confident that there will be some tangible use cases coming out of this that you guys can also play around with. The other very exciting update this week, right? We have the month of Chrysalis this month, March. We have rewritten everything, the node software, the libraries, the wallet, and basically the full stack. And this week we finally announced the libraries, so that all of you can play around with them and start building your use cases, right? And what's very exciting about this release is that we are really focused on building one core library. So instead of building the library in different languages like JavaScript, Python, Java, C, Rust, whatever, instead we are building it in one language, and that's Rust. and then we are basically transpiling it into different languages. So that is a very important strategy for us. First of all, to really make sure that there's one source of truth, so to say, right? One wallet library that is being maintained by us, and is where we really make sure that it's being the most secure, and also where it's going to be the most adopted one. So the new strategy is really exciting in that regard. And I can encourage all of you to watch this great video from Dave to better understand how the libraries work and also really what you can build with it. And we also have a documentation for the wallet library, so you can start building around with it and you can start integrating with it. So that's really exciting, right? All about building, and it's all about building towards this future together with all of you. Something else that's been super exciting, and I got really excited when I saw this one, right? NFTs. So for those of you that don't fully know it, NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, and they got really popular because of CryptoKitties, which was a very interesting project that basically brought Ethereum down to its knees back in, I think it was 2018, right? Maybe it was, something around that, or 2017 actually. And they've really increased in popularity recently because artists realized that, hey, there's this huge market of crypto owners that first of all want to experiment with new tech, but that also have too much money to care for, right? And it's not just about owning a physical piece of art, but it's also about owning a digital piece of art that cannot be replicated, where there's only one unique piece in the world, and it's verified by the blockchain or by IOTA, right? And a user made this very exciting piece, and I think with everything that's happening, right? So we have the Chrysalis upgrade coming out, where we're changing everything, and we really are going much further than that, because we also have digital assets, meaning that you can basically tokenize physical assets, but also where you can create digital assets for these NFTs, right? And in addition to that, we also have smart contracts. And I think now is really the time where we should start building towards this future. And I'm pretty sure that all of you, who are watching, I'm very sure that all of you are also super excited about these NFTs and what can be enabled on IOTA with that. Here's another example that was made by somebody in the community with smart contracts. I'm sure that some of you might remember Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards or even just baseball cards. Now imagine having a physical card which is digitized, and then you can really show it off, and it can be verified through IOTA. And the interesting part is we are already using this tech today in supply chain, right? So like, for example, the use case that we're doing with Zebra Technologies, where we are verifying, validating goods along the supply chain. The same tech can be applied for this stuff, right? It's around proving the authenticity and proving this chain of custody as well of NFTs. And so it's super exciting for us at IOTA to do this. And you can be very sure that we're going down this path of doing NFTs, but also doing digital assets in general. One crazy thing that I also just found out this week was what Joni shared about the emissions that NFTs actually have. All of you know that Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're based on proof of work, right? So that means there's a lot of mining behind it. And it also means that there's a lot of electricity that's being wasted. And the electricity consumption of a single artist, here was the equivalent of 49 years, right? One person consuming electricity for 49 years just because 2 pieces of art were sold. The CO2 emissions were over 103,000 kilograms, right? It's just absolutely crazy. If you think about it, like, we're in 2021, we want to fight climate change. We want to think about how we can go towards zero emissions by 2050. And then we have those POW, proof of work blockchains that are just making it worse. And in Ethereum's credit, right, they are moving towards proof of stake. And I really hope that they are going to accelerate their move, because this is absolutely crucial for them to also be leaders in this space, because being a proof of work-based blockchain over the next few years, I think that will be a detrimental factor for many of them. And we can probably host a very exciting panel discussion on this soon, because I really want to see the other side of the arguments. Because from my point of view, every single investor, every single large fund, pension fund, and so on and so forth will have an ESG mandate, right? And the ESG mandate clearly states you need to be investing in environmentally friendly technologies. And so anything that's based on POW, proof of work, is not going to work anymore. And so in particular about NFTs, many of the projects and many of the artists actually stopped issuing NFTs on Ethereum because of the waste. And I really think that IOTA, especially because of our feeless nature as well, and because we don't waste that much electricity, or the electricity waste is negligible, has a really unique opportunity right now to position itself. And if any of you are interested in setting up an NFT marketplace, if you're an NFT artist, please join our Discord. Basically just go to discord.iota.org if you're not there yet, and let's discuss it, because this is really something that we should get behind right now. And we're super excited about it. And related to that, smart contracts. This is definitely one of the biggest announcements of this year so far. As all of you know, IOTA is built on this vision of being a modular architecture. We don't want to put everything into this core ledger, because that's just going to bloat the entire ledger. That's just going to bloat the network, and will make it inferior down the line. We are seeing this with Ethereum today, where they have insanely high transaction fees. So an NFT can no longer launch unless you're paying $100 just to register it, right? Or you cannot really execute your use case because a miner is willing to pay more in fees just to front run somebody on a decentralized exchange, right? It's just really crazy economics that happen there. So that's why the IOTA core, right, the IOTA ledger, will always just be focused on making sure that the transactional settlement, right, machine to machine, human to machine, whatever, is the main use case. IOTA's main use case is how do we transfer one IOTA token from one address to the next address in a very secure and in a very scalable and decentralized way. That's why we're doing Courtside. That's why we are getting ready with this full upgrade and this new dawn with Chrysalis, right? Now, the exciting part here is that we have these because of this modular architecture, we can actually start building complete new use cases that either leverage the IOTA Tangle or that build on top of it as a layer 2 solution. And smart contracts is one of these new protocols, and it will also become a new network that is leveraging the IOTA Tangle in order to enable smart contracts. And now, before I jump into how smart contracts actually work in IOTA, I want to quickly talk about how they work in Ethereum, just so you guys also have a sort of comparison on how it works there. So the most basic concept in smart contracts is the state, right? So the state of a smart contract is secured in this blockchain. And the state just basically is the code of the contract, and it's basically the latest information, the latest data at which the contract currently is, right? So for example, an ERC20 token just basically stores the current address and the current balances of a particular token, right? Now, if I want to transfer tokens from one address to another address, I basically have to sign the transaction that basically states, hey, I want to perform this action, and this action is that I want to transfer tokens from address A to address B. Now what happens is I send the transaction to my node. My node performs the computation locally and actually transfers it does the validity checks, if everything is fine, it transfers it to its peers, right? In this peer-to-peer network. And then the transaction enters the pool, right? This means this is a pool of transactions that have not yet been confirmed by the miners, but they're valid transactions. They have posted the fee, they have attached the fee, and they're just waiting for the miners to be confirmed. Now what happens in this pool, if there's not an insanely high transaction throughput, usually within, I think in Ethereum, between 10 to 20 seconds, the miners will get your transaction, they will include it in the blockchain, and they are going to perform the permutation, right? They are going to go from the previous state to the new state of the smart contract, which basically reflects the change that tokens were transferred from A to B. All right. But if there's a lot of transaction throughput in this network right now, there's a lot of TPS, we get into this very bad situation where we have the fee market, first of all. That means only the transactions with the highest fees, paid fees, are going to be put into the blockchain. That means if your transaction fee is too low, your transaction will be in the pool for the next few days until it's going to be discarded. So you have to reissue your transaction with a higher fee attached in order to get it accepted. Or you could even be in a situation where there's just simply too many pending transactions where it becomes really uncertain whether your transaction gets included at all, right? This is sort of the situation, and you can really see that in blockchain, it's this synchronicity, right? There's one step after another that needs to be executed. So that's why blockchains don't scale horizontally. We need to wait for one block to be confirmed, for one batch of transactions to be confirmed, and then wait for the next block. And that's how it works today. And it worked fine so far. And I just learned before that Ethereum is actually finally approving a new EIP, which is going to hopefully fix this entire fee market, which is very exciting. And I think that's happening in July. But this is exactly why we actually developed IOTA smart contracts. And the best way that I can actually explain IOTA smart contracts to you is through this picture. So if you think about the Tangle today, the Tangle is this directed acyclic graph, right? So we have this DAG. We have this DAG architecture where it's no longer about one block being attached to a chain, but where it's really about transactions being connected to each other and basically create this beautiful tangle. Now, what we can actually do is we can build smart contracts on top of the tangle, where one smart contract, it can also be a smart contract chain, right? Basically just utilizes IOTA's parallel architecture to create its own blockchain. So think about us basically building blockchains on top of IOTA, right? And here, this image actually perfectly shows it, because what's happening here is that if you are creating a smart contract on top of IOTA, you have one issuing transaction. In this transaction, we store metadata, like, for example, what is the code of the smart contract and what is the current state. And so if there's a new request coming in, let's say there's a request to send tokens from A to B, we send a new transaction again, which reflects the latest state. Now, the beauty of this is that we are anchoring the smart contract in IOTA. We make the state and we make all of the transitions of the state completely verifiable. That means if somebody new comes in, they can verify the smart contract and they can verify which state it is, right? Without verification, there's no blockchain, because then you're just a centralized database. And with this, the beauty is that everything can run in parallel, right? So we can have one Ethereum chain that runs on top of IOTA, and we can have many Ethereum chains that run on top of IOTA. So instead of waiting for this sequential ordering, we can do it in parallel. And that's the really exciting part about IOTA smart contracts, because now we have this parallelized architecture to execute smart contracts. Multiple smart contracts can be updated at the same time without waiting for previous state transitions to go through from the other ones, right? So you can really think about this as being the equivalent of launching many Ethereum chains on top of IOTA. And that's what makes it really unique. And that's what makes it so exciting, because we're leveraging the IOTA tangle for feeless transactions, right? I can actually issue a transaction. I don't have to pay any fees to miners or anything like that. I will probably have to pay fees for the execution of the smart contract itself, but I'll talk about that soon, right? Feeless transaction that we're leveraging from IOTA, and we are securing the state in the IOTA tangle, which makes it completely verifiable and also makes it immutable. So now we really have functional smart contracts on top of IOTA. And we're going to do more discussions about smart contracts over the next week. I think on Wednesday for the FAQ session, I'll probably maybe invite Evaldez or somebody else so we can focus on explaining this even more. But this is this is the state part, right? Now, something else that's very exciting about these smart contracts is how are they being secured? If you think about the smart contract, it's all about reaching consensus on what the current state of the smart contract is, and also reaching consensus on what the updated state is, right? If I apply the changes of somebody making a request, like I said before, sending transaction from A to B, we need to reach consensus on what the updated state is. And that is exactly why Ethereum today has miners who are acting as the validators. That is why Cardano and Polkadot use delegated proof of stake, or nominated proof of stake, as Polkadot calls it. And in IOTA smart contracts, we are basically allowing the smart contract developer herself to decide who is going to be the committee that is going to secure the smart contract. So there can be like 3 different scenarios, right? Either it will be you and your friends. You can decide it's a private blockchain that you can launch. It can be a private network that you set up where you know who is going to be the validators. It can also be a very permissioned setup, for example, where we have a consortium of big companies that come together, that signed an agreement, and that basically states these 9 companies, for example, are going to be the validators of this smart contract chain. Or very exciting is we have an open and we have a public market for validators who are going to secure these smart contracts. And the exciting part about IOTA smart contracts is we are really focused on building a new environment that is fully flexible, where the developer can decide what the best environment for them is. So you can decide what level of security you need. You can decide the validator setup, and you can also really decide the fee structure, how much the validators should be paid. And most important, you can also really, in the future, choose which virtual machine you want to launch with. And all of that really makes IOTA smart contracts really, really exciting. And one thing you might see here is we have these addresses, right? So each smart contract will have a unique address where you can also transfer tokens to. And as all of you know, we talked about digital assets. The way that these smart contracts will work as well is that you can actually send IOTA tokens, or you can send digital assets, like tokenized assets, to the smart contract to really program these assets even further. Like, for example, having a governance structure for a security token. I say I want to tokenize my company, and now I can create a governance structure around it. And so it's super, super exciting, everything that we're doing. And we've really been talking about smart contract, or like internally, we've been really focused on getting the concept right. And over the last year, we've really refined it even further. And at this point, we are really we're happy with the result. We're not just happy with the result, but we're super, super excited about it, because this can really solve some of the bottlenecks that current blockchains have. And in addition to that, it's a complete new architecture that can also make sure that IOTA is expanding into new ecosystems and is really bringing new use cases to our ecosystem. One thing that will definitely be possible with this is everything around DeFi, around DEXs, around AMMs. and so on. And we are really going down a very exciting path while still realizing this vision of the machine economy, because IoT needs autonomous smart contracts, right? And before I talk about the virtual machine stuff, I can highly encourage all of you to read the architecture document. It's around 47 pages, and you can treat it sort of as a mix of yellow paper and white paper, which really explains how IOTA smart contracts works and why it's so unique. It's very technical, obviously, but it really also helped me understand last year really the full scope and the full vision behind this and why it's so exciting. So make sure to check it out. And these images really explain it very well what it is. Now, where do we stand right now, right? So we released the alpha version of it, and you can start building it. You can start building smart contracts in your own environment. And we're right now going through a refactoring in GoStreamer because, very exciting, we are adding Mana, and we are really getting everything ready for the Nectar release of Corticide, which will be super, super exciting. And now, with this refactoring over the next couple of weeks, we are going to also refactor the IOTA smart contracts protocol, right? The implementation in the WASP node. And then over the next few weeks, you will be able to deploy it onto the broader network. And we're already now building some exciting use cases with the community. I think there's this Bruno, who's already been building some smart contracts and already actually built a tutorial on how to deploy your own smart contracts on WASM and in Rust. So I think over the next month, we'll be very focused on refactoring and building out some of these use cases. And very important, right? This is an alpha release. And the objective is that this year we're going to see smart contracts on the mainnet. And for one, there's going to be some changes, obviously, made after Chrysalis, which include tokenized assets, right? And which is also going to include some of the cryptography that's needed for ISCP. But very important is that we also focus on being a VM agnostic environment with ISCP. So we're already porting over the Ethereum virtual machine right now, so that you will also be able to launch Solidity smart contracts on top of IOTA. And all of this is really part of our bridge building exercise. And this is super exciting, obviously, also because we're already thinking about how we can all do all of this in a permissionless market and how this can really evolve into a marketplace. So make sure to read through all of it. Make sure to watch this video as well. It's a little bit more technical, but we're gonna release a lot more information on easy to digest documentation and also videos on this. So it's super exciting, and this is really going to really empower IOTA to go into these new ecosystem and bridge assets to IOTA and even more. So with that, as I already mentioned, next week we're going to do more of a FAQ on smart contracts. If you have questions, please ask them on Reddit. So we're going to go through with them. And I think with that, we have the serious part of the talk over. And I think we should get Thomas on the line. Thomas, can you hear me? You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up.
There you are.
That's your official entry song,
That's
right?
the entry. Yeah, I couldn't help it.
No, it's really exciting. Maybe something, because I think like half of the people here are from Spec and half of the people are thinking like, what's going on?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe some history. One of the most infamous channels in 2017 in the entire crypto space was the IOTA speculation channel on our Slack. And it was really where the craziness happened. and we had a lot of fun in that channel. And over the last few years, it obviously developed. And Thomas has been a great part of that entire journey. Maybe Thomas, you explain a little bit about yourself, where you come from.
Yeah, I'm Norwegian. I actually got into IOTA because my little brother, he just came to me one day and said he had read about this new cryptocurrency, and he said, and I'm not quite sure where he got that information because I've never heard that before. Because he said Russia was going to adopt it as its official currency, and I was like, okay, let's buy this. Then I started to get more involved, and I understand that wasn't quite the truth. But pretty happy he told me that, because I probably wouldn't have been here without it.
Who taught you that Russia is going to adopt IOTA as an official currency?
My little brother.
You should tell him he should stop spreading FUD.
Absolutely. But he got me in, so I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. So.
No, that's funny. So do you want to go towards meme review, because I think we have some stuff to make fun of.
Yeah, we can do the question stuff after the review. Okay.
Or maybe ask the questions now.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Maybe also a little bit about your story and why you have Charlie Sheen, because obviously you're not really Charlie Sheen, right? So.
Maybe, I'm not sure. No, it's probably just because I was looking for a picture, and there was this internal joke with my mates when I was younger that they called me Sheen. It's a long story, so I ended up just choosing that one. And then it just escalated quite quick. So, and now we've quite a lot of Charlie Sheen memes running around in the community and all that. Quite good, a lot of them.
No, this one is actually funny.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
I wonder how people actually make this. Like, is this like automated stuff that you can just do in Photoshop these days?
I actually went in for some weird reason. I ended up in Victoria Beckham's Instagram the other day, and she had these exact things of her grandmother. So I think it's an app or something that you can put on some picture, and it ends up like that.
No, that's really funny. This one is also really nice. All right, go ahead.
Just doing the meme review, or do you want to do the questions first?
No, let's do the questions. I think that's fun.
So we put up a list. I got a little bit of help from the community as well. I'm not expecting like a major answer from everyone. Probably some of them are NDAs as well. But let's just start on top and work our way through.
Yeah, I have to be a politician and give you a non-answer if you ask about news.
That's allowed. So let's see. After you got the curve, where the custodian thing, have you seen any signs of like partners wants to invest? Because now Tesla obviously went out public and said they bought cryptocurrency. Like, do your partners want to involve as well?
Yeah, no, we actually have some of them announcing it somewhat soon as well. Wow. And you probably also saw Dan's post. I think many companies that we work with, they realize more and more that, right, the value proposition of buying IOTA tokens, if you think about it from a utility perspective, is the value of them is going to go down because you're going to use them to pay gas. You're going to use them to pay transaction fees. And IOTA, if you invest into IOTA tokens for your utility, the amount of IOTA tokens that you have remains the same, right? But it enables your use case. You don't have to pay any transaction fees. And more companies that we work with actually realize that now. And because we have Curve on board and we have some other exciting custodians also on board, they're now taking this move. So yeah, like there's definitely going to be more established companies announcing that they acquired IOTAs.
That's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
By the way, you have this kind of like British accent. How did that come to be?
That come because I'm a massive addicted to Top Gear. So I watched quite a lot of Top Gear, and it ended up me just starting to speak like a little bit British.
It's good influence.
Absolutely. Let's see. The next one is when do you expect to see the tech being used at a big scale? And at a big scale, I'm probably leaning towards like country using it for like the thing we see with Zebra with the vaccination passport and all that.
Yeah. I mean, we're really trying to do it with the vaccination passport already this year, right? So we're really trying to use our best contacts right now to talk with governments to get the vaccination passport adopted. Even if that doesn't work, right, I think what will be really adopted moving forward is IOTA's capabilities in data management, right? What we're doing with Dell is really exciting, but also really for supply chain with Zebra. So our goal is really that over the next few years, especially with Corticide also on the mainnet, that it will be a lot more possible or easy to utilize IOTA in those use cases. But one thing, one thing that I want to emphasize, right? The way that it usually works, if you speak with the big companies, it takes you a couple of months just to get to a stage where you sign an NDA or something, right? And then maturing the relationship oftentimes takes a couple of years, right? And we have some very exciting partners in the pipeline that are still working on their use case. And we saw, for example, the announcement of IOTA where they're doing the infrastructure project, but those are like 4-year time frames. Right.
Oh, wow.
So it takes time, but what we are really focused on this year is tangible adoption, like what we're doing with IOTA oracles, with industrial oracles, and also what we're doing with smart contracts. So I think already before that. But we're basically focused on doing crypto adoption, but also doing enterprise adoption, right?
Yeah, it's quite exciting, everything that's happening right now. Yeah. Like, you kind of almost feel like you won the match, but still a lot of work to do. And
I think we have to stay humble, right, and stay focused. And there's still a lot more work to do, but we've made the right choices.
Yeah, I agree.
What is the most exciting use case for you of IOTA?
I feel like which is coming in one of the next questions, I believe. The car industry is pretty good for me because I feel like it's quite possible to do right now, and people actually understand this, because when I try to explain IOTA, I always go for the Jaguar Land Rover stuff, where I say, okay, imagine your car paying for your parking and all that by itself. And everyone is like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That would be pretty good. But if I say, okay, what if you put your entire building on a stock exchange that you can buy? They don't understand that.
No, that's a very good point. I think one thing that we sometimes struggle with is because we're going with this IoT route, people don't get emotionally invested in some of these use cases, right? Yeah. Because they're like, oh, automation, oh, machines. And that's like one thing that I'm super excited about is what we're doing with identity. Because I really think that identity will bring the next million users on IOTA.
No doubt.
And we have some really good progress on that with the beta version coming out very soon, and some companies actually utilizing it. So yeah, I'm very pumped about identity and everything that's happening with Firefly and how that can be utilized for those use cases.
Yeah, I think we got quite a lot to expect in the coming months and weeks.
Yeah.
And let's see. The next question was, which industry do you feel that you have come the furthest in regarding adoption?
The furthest, I would say, supply chain, because in supply chain we have several very, very tangible projects. Right, we had the trademark East Africa pilot, like a real life testbed that we are still very much developing in Kenya and East Africa in general. And that's very exciting and very tangible with real world implications. We have Zebra Technologies and also other partners, right? Like everything and so on. So there in supply chain, we've definitely gotten the most adoption so far. But I think that as we move forward with Chrysalis, and as IOTA becomes much more easier to integrate, I'm definitely sure that IOTA as the wallet technology for cars will also start to get more adoption in that regard, and obviously with smart contracts and stuff. So what I'm saying is the next phase will be digital assets on IOTA as being the most adopted one.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
I think. Would you think that IOTA is about to decouple from the crypto space now that we have clear signs of adoption and all that?
It's a very good question. It's always been our intention to decouple, and we've decoupled by doing things very differently. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, right? I think the ultimate objective for the entire crypto space is to move away from this dependency on Bitcoin and dependency on one sort of main, or dependency on main gateways, which are the largest exchanges right now because they hold a lot of power. Yeah. And towards an environment where people can invest directly into crypto and can utilize crypto directly, right? So what I'm talking about is that banks are going to offer asset management for crypto, right? So you go to your local bank and you tell them, hey, I want to hold my crypto, my IOTA tokens with you, or I want to buy IOTA tokens, or I want to sell IOTA tokens, right? All of that will be possible directly from your bank. And I'm very sure that that's going to come over the next few years. Some larger banks are already opening up to that. But the only way that we're going to decouple is through continuous work with the real world, right? Real world use cases where it's not just about DeFi, where it's not just about crazy casinos, right? Which the crypto space oftentimes is. Yeah. And really make sure that we work in the real world. So, by the way, the main reason why I did the Zen Garden meme a few weeks ago? No. On the IOTA talk, it was basically just to tell people we need to be patient, right? Everybody wants this stuff to happen right now. Everybody wants the release happening right now, but sometimes it's just not possible. Things take time to mature and get better and get even bigger, right? And that's why I did the Zen Garden on the IOTA talk, just to show people we have to be patient.
I will say that I'm guilty of asking when. A little bit, maybe.
An understatement.
Yeah, but the kind of thing is like, I'm not sure if I can speak for everyone else, but I'm quite aware that thing doesn't just happen overnight, and you can't just announce a bunch of things within a week. So I think the when is more like become a meme. Like people ask when, but they don't necessarily mean that they want something right now. But I think most in the that those have been there quite a while. Totally. They have to expect.
Yeah, and by the way, since when are you in IOTA?
Came in 2017.
Okay, so you've been through the best and the worst periods, basically.
Absolutely, yeah. Seen it all.
Seen it all, right? Yeah. No, like I think we've really matured as the foundation, as individuals, but also as a community. And one thing I must say, and I really hear this very often, so this is also what all of you should really appreciate. When we speak with large investors or people that are part of other crypto communities, they always speak very, very highly of the IOTA ecosystem and the IOTA community, because they always realize, hey, yes, we're having fun in the speculation channel, but if you look on Discord, we are really being productive and asking very good questions. How does IOTA make sense in this use case? What is going to be the next use case enabled with IOTA and stuff like that, right? We are all really focused on making this a reality. And sure, price is a part of it, but I think we as a community are really productive, and I really hear this very often. So
yeah,
great job,
agree,
guys.
Lately, I've always been mainly in the IOTA channel, but I tried to move around earlier this year to just look how it is. And almost every other community I went into was just like this, like the worst thing I saw, like crypto isn't technology, it's an asset. And like,
Okay.
Jesus Christ, they do not have they haven't understood quite what they're in about. But I think the IOTA community is quite mature compared to the general crypto people.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah. I got a question that I made for myself because I'm quite interested in the car industry. But when do you expect to see more news regarding the car industry?
So that's a very good question. We had some very big plans last year with actually two very large automotives. But the problem is because of COVID, as you can guess, I think one of the industries that's been hit the largest was the automotive, the car industry.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
right, some of them were even talking about closing shop altogether and stuff. So apart from Tesla has been
Yeah, well, it's quite
insane.
known that the car industry is the ones that get the hardest hits when an economic crisis comes.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so some, you know, the first thing that happens when large companies go into crisis mode is that budgets get slashed and everybody's sort of focused on either maintaining the status quo or slashing costs, right? And so innovation projects also get stopped. And so some of these projects also got stopped or got delayed. I hope that now that we also have some more concrete, very concrete projects to integrate, like Identity, like Project Alvarium, and also like IOTA as a car e-wallet. I hope that that the next few weeks we can do more in that regard. We already obviously still working with those large companies, but it will take time. And I think we are going to focus much more. Like we are very much focused on electric vehicles and also on energy companies. But yeah, like I'm very sure that it will come back, right? And we are doing stuff with smart cities and stuff. So the car is always a component there. And we also have IOTA Gruppe, you know, the IOTA Gruppe announcement, which is, I think it's kind of underestimated how big that actually is, that 10 million euro infrastructure project in Germany. So I think that will also really help. Because they're like a supplier to large automotives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like a project that it isn't known like throughout the world, so it's the base layer.
Yeah. We're still part of Mobi Alliance, you know, this alliance, and where we're also pushing standards and stuff. So it's developing, but it's not developing as fast as we would like and as fast as you would like. But we're moving forward. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. The next one is how will the IOTA Foundation convince the miners to come to IOTA now that Mana is on its way?
How will miners react onto IOTA when we have Mana?
No, how do we get the miners to come to IOTA and like leave the blockchain space, come over to IOTA now that Mana and all that is on its way?
That's a good question. I don't like, you know, how do you get an oil company to adopt green tech, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. You tell me. Like, I think the only way to do that is to allow them to diversify their assets, their holdings. But the worst kind of asset that all of these miners have are these ASICs. And already in the name ASIC, it's like a specialized hardware that just does Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining. So you can just like recycle it and that's it. And the rest is trash.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Should we? I'm asking you. Like, should we try and think about how we give them a hand to come to IOTA?
I'm not quite sure, but I think that all the pros that IOTA gives will probably over time convince slowly one and then they will probably come over time, I guess.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah.
And will we see a lot of other crypto projects being built on IOTA like we see on Ethereum now that digital assets and all that comes.
Totally. Like that's our big focus here, right? And we already are working on several with some companies that actually reached out to us, like putting real estate on IOTA or putting physical assets on IOTA. And there's also some startups that are thinking about. I wouldn't call them ICOs, but they're thinking about doing, like, for example, digital asset sales and stuff like that through IOTA. So definitely, and that's really the focus with what we're doing, right? Where it's moving away from just IOTA being the asset towards a multi-asset environment, where IOTA is really the core backbone and the core enabler of all of that, and it's obviously the largest asset at the end, but where it gets leveraged in that regard. Yeah.
Like you say, a startup, would that like be a totally new project, or like let's say Dell wants to create Dell tokens, for example?
It's totally new projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exciting. Let's see. How is the expanding of the foundation going in other parts of the world, like Asia and America and all that?
Yeah. So expanding is going slowly in Asia. One thing that is kind of certain about Asia is that it's very pay to play, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
in order to enter the market, you actually have to invest significant sums to do marketing, to do whatever, right? So that really isn't our thing. No. But we are doing more in South Korea, right? Where we had that announcement. We have the project in Japan, which is very exciting, with Nido. Yeah. And that's moving forward really well. But you can definitely expect a lot more from us this year in Asia. I definitely want to do another Asia tour after, I hope that we get through with the COVID lockdowns, because Asia is going to be our most important market. We're doing quite well in the US, and so we have some really exciting projects there. But I think in Asia we can do a lot more. So I'll try and focus a lot more beginning Q3, Q4 to do more there.
Very exciting. Yeah. Very cool. So I got only 2 questions left now. Let's see. I saw a YouTube video the other day about a person from Renault saying they have something like they have tried out Ethereum, they didn't like it, so they went for IOTA technology instead. Have you seen like a trend of other companies trying out other projects and then switching to IOTA?
Yeah, totally. Then, like, especially now with these upgrades that are coming to IOTA, many more projects are coming to us and saying, like, we've tried it on Ethereum, or we can no longer work on Ethereum, or we can no longer work on Hyperledger. Let's work together and figure this out. And we've already had this last year already. That's why we spoke with some of these companies that you mentioned. That's why we're working with Dell. Right, Dell has also worked with Hyperledger and still are, but they also find IOTA very exciting. So that's really good. But yeah, I think especially now with smart contracts, we're going to enter a complete new league, because already now we have a lot of adoption, a lot of awareness from big companies, but with smart contracts on IOTA, and also digital assets itself, it will be incredibly exciting, because now companies can realize all of their use cases. They can even set up their own permissioned smart contract network on top of IOTA. But the very exciting part with that is that you're building it on the foundation of the permissionless network, which is obviously much more secure than a private one. And very important is you have a hook to the public network, right? You're interoperable with other smart contracts. So I'm very sure that over the next few months we're going to see a lot more adoption happening, and also organic adoption where we don't know about it. Because many companies are probably just building on IOTA without even reaching out to us. Right?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool, nice thing you mentioned. But like the testing facilities and the German Air Force, where they get all the COVID tests on the Tango. That's pretty exciting. You guys didn't know about that, did you?
Yeah, and when it came out, I was actually really worried that it was fake news.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that was pretty cool. And it was,
I still have some PTSD from Microsoft.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. No, it was really
very
cool, and that's exactly what IOTA is for, right? Permissionless network, utilize our tech and build your use case. You don't need to reach out to the foundation. Just do it yourself.
It's quite exciting what we might just pop out before everyone else knows it. Just one day, it's just there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's super exciting, especially for me as well, right? Because oftentimes I know about things months in advance, but with these cases, I don't know about it, and it just happens like that. And it's really exciting, yeah.
Yeah, finally you can see how we feel. You just wake up one day and then it's there.
That's true. I never thought about it like that.
No. So I got one more question. I think the guys in the spec channel will like this answer quite a lot. And it is, how likely do you think that IOTA, because you have had a previous statement that IOTA will be a $1 trillion project or zero. In my opinion, it's quite obvious it won't ever go to zero like it is now. So the question is, how likely do you think that it is for IOTA to become a $1 trillion project as of now?
Well, if it was less than 50%, there would be no reason for me or for others to work full time on it, right? I have most of my assets also in IOTA, and like I truly fundamentally believe that what we are building is not just another crypto token, but it's really this entire new ecosystem for the future. And this ecosystem will be worth trillions of dollars. I'm very confident in that, and that's exactly what we're building for. And we have this validation. Trillions, yeah.
With an X. Okay.
like think about it like that. Bitcoin is worth 1 trillion, right?
Yeah.
At the height of it.
Absolutely.
And they don't have an ecosystem around it. It's just it's seen as digital gold. And now think about and what we are building is actually going to be utilized in the real world. Like, how much is the spectrum worth? There's billions of dollars of transactions that are being made every year where people are exchanging licensing for the spectrum, right? And IOTA is similarly to the spectrum. It's this infrastructure layer. And we have this very huge ecosystem on top of it. So yeah, like I'm 100% focused on IOTA. This is the only project I'm really focused on, and everything that I'm doing is either on the core protocol foundation or in the ecosystem, building applications. So yeah, like I'm very confident, and that's what I'm working for.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think quite a lot of the common IOTA followers is also starting to see that it's going quite well. Everything is going according to plan. Like it's never. I'm usually tweeting the tweet that it's never been more comfortable holding IOTA, but each week it just gets more comfortable to be involved in this space because it always feels like we're reaching the top every day.
No, exactly, and I think fundamentally, if you invest into a project, you have to make sure that the direction that they're taking is the correct one, right? That the main hypothesis behind the project is the correct one. And the correct one of IOTA is that DAGs are better than blockchain. Right? Yeah. And once we prove that with Corticite, the sky is the limit, in my opinion, because we are building so much more than just a better blockchain, right? We have digital identity, we have smart contracts, we have digital assets, and we have this entire ecosystem around IOTA that is building on top of it. So we're not just building a better blockchain, we're really building an entire ecosystem already today. And we could have done this in sequence, where we could have first launched IOTA as a proof of concept, as a research paper, as a research project, then tried several years to figure out Corticite, and then only launch IOTA with Corticite. But instead we did everything sort of at once, and it was very difficult to tackle at times, where it was being overly ambitious, where it was being underestimating the biggest efforts, the timelines and stuff like that. But now we're really in a very good spot where we know where we need to head, and we also know what we need to do. And obviously there will be big challenges along the way. There will be problems, there will be delays because of unforeseen circumstances, but that is like the general uncertainty that you have to deal with. As long as you're directionally right, you will be fine. And we are directionally right. and that's why I'm super confident and very, very happy with where we stand right now.
Yeah, and I probably just know half, not even half of what you know, and I feel confident. So I think we're heading on the right direction here, and that we will be fine. We just, as you said earlier, we have to get some patience. Everything can't happen in a day. We just have to sit down and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, exactly. And like if things go wrong, if there's a bad day with minus whatever percentage, just utilize the Zen garden, put on some meditation music, and 100%. Just let it pass.
Absolutely.
I think I try to make these jokes lately. Like if you're in crypto for so long, either you've really gone insane because of all these insane pumps and dumps and ups and downs and emotional draining, or you've really become Zen, where nothing can can challenge you anymore. And I think many of us have really gone down this Zen route. So it's really interesting.
We become pretty much immune to market movements.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it should be, right?
And it's so exciting these next couple of weeks because we got Chrysalis coming out within this month, I believe. And then probably Qual, after you've spoken about the floodgates, supposed to be quite big, and Cordyceps later on. But as you see, we've probably been speaking quite long now, so we probably should do the meme review.
Yeah, I'm already doing it. Yeah, because we're talking about the good stuff, right? And it's a really funny meme where the Tangle is actually powering the rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I noticed. I really love the memes of Illusin, because he also made one of the other funny memes.
Yeah, I saw the one, Toro, is that how you pronounce the guy that made the Interstellar one? That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the last one I'm going to show. Can you hear the sound, by the way?
I can't hear the sound right now, no. Let me turn on the YouTube. Let's see if we can see. No.
That one was good. This one is the one that fits us the most, Thomas.
Let's see,
2018, everybody had to experience the crash. 2018 to 2020, bear market. March 2020, another crash. And then in August 2025, everybody everything that people will say, oh, you got in early.
Yeah, like that is pretty much how I speak to all the guys that are outside of the tech bubble. Like they barely know how to create a Facebook account. And they're all like, oh no, I'm not touching this. This is this is too futuristic. And now oh, why didn't you tell me?
You're right. I mean, if people go into crypto, I always tell them you should be prepared for a crazy roller coaster ride, but the entire space will only go up over the next few years because the tech and the market has sort of proven itself already, right? All of those big players are entering it, and we solve real problems with the tech. So just be part of the roller coaster and enjoy the journey, I would say. I think the 2018 to 2021 time period really shaped us all.
Yeah.
So we can appreciate that time. This is another funny meme where it's about telling the naysayers that IOTA in 2021 is basically a complete new project with Firefly, with digital assets, oracles, Curve, right? Custodians, traditional asset managers, and Dell, Intel, among others, and also Chrysalis.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It explains pretty easy what's going on, and the guys outside don't really see it before it's already there.
Right. And it also shows that we need to do more in explaining all of the exciting stuff, right? But this is a good one. This one is also a really good one. The Oracle of Intel. That's really funny. So this is our favorite meme. quick question to you guys in the stream. Can you actually hear the sound when I had it on? Can you write in the chat if you hear the sound when I had it on in the YouTube video?
I didn't hear the first one.
Oh, god damn it, I can't hear the sound. I wonder how I think I have to change the audio output.
Quite a lot of no's in the chat now.
Yeah, I think with you we had the most viewers, so you should be happy. we have
really?
730.
Wow.
All right, there, like that's a lot of no's.
Yeah. We'll probably have a little bit more views when we're heading down to the official Monaco party.
Why Monaco, by the way? Like, I understand it's like glory and whatever, but it's kind of boring there.
I really like Monaco quite a lot. I went there with a mate 2019 for the Grand Prix, and we just went all out, and it was like, it's like a place where you shouldn't be, but you just end up there. It's very weird. And then you sit on a cafe there, and like Kardashians and table beside you, and you're there just chugging down beers like a farmer from Norway. Very weird.
But I'm trying to figure out how I can actually show this YouTube video now without this. Like, it would be kind of nice to do it with the sound. But I need to download the video, right? They're still saying no in the channel. Maybe we'll just show it without this.
Yeah, it pretty much explains itself when the text is there.
He's a Bitcoin maximalist.
Pretty good.
Like Booga Booga, like one moon.
Broken parts in the water and call them other crypto.
Oh, this is my favorite. Now Chris is saving her. Forgot to subscribe. This one is good. Oh, this is you.
Yeah.
I never saw that. Cortisite on, yes, baby.
And there we go.
No, I love these memes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's been a couple of quite good YouTube videos, like the one that they're asking for where their parents are and all that.
Yeah, and you know, like really, really great job, everybody that made the memes.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we see quite a lot more of them.
Yeah, like I'll link the video in the description so all of you can also see it with watch it with sound on. I think it's fun to do this mix, right? Because on the one hand, we are a very serious project, we are a foundation, whatever, working with big companies, but IOTA is nothing without this community. So it's a lot of fun to think about these memes and share them also on the stream. Maybe some closing remarks from you, Thomas?
What do you say?
Some closing remarks from you?
Closing remarks. I actually just opened my phone and I got a question from a fellow friend of ours asking if you guys would the Monaco party if it ever were to happen.
Sure. I'm down as long as I don't get killed.
I think it will be good. I think NV will get his vaccines and we'll all be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the bet for that one?
I think it was said $50 because it has to be like proper price. And I'm trying to say that we will make that possible this year.
Let's see. Like I don't speculate on the price. I speculate on the value of our ecosystem. So
yeah, that'd be good. See. But I'm looking quite forward to what you guys got coming this coming weeks, and best of luck to all of you.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting to have you and everybody else in the community. I think this year we will grow a lot even more. So I think Spec will be even crazier and it will be very fun. But we have a very exciting year ahead of us. And yeah, Thomas, thank you a lot for joining this stream. It was really quite nice and pleasant. I didn't expect it to turn out this well, to be honest. So
it was pretty good. And thanks for having me.
Kudos to you. Great. So with that, I hope all of you had some fun. I hope all of you learned some more about how smart contracts work. Make sure to ask us questions. If you have any uncertainty, you can ask on Discord, where our team members are going to be. You can also ask us on Reddit, where I'm going to answer the questions next week on our live stream. And with that, I hope all of you have a great Friday day, Friday evening, and also have a great weekend. Thank you, and thank you, Thomas, and see you soon on Spec.
See you in Spec.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, boys.